There was a PC game that I got big into back in 1990 something called Dungeon Keeper. GameMasters here, and we recently used Dungeon Keeper as inspiration for a new way to play Dungeons and Dragons. We cleverly called it Dragons and Dungeons. Here's how it all breaks down. I have a table of regular players. There are usually five or six when everyone, of course, shows up. And, me as the Dungeon Master. In our normal game, it's me describing what's going on, me populating the dungeon, me rolling for the dragon, and then the players, of course, are the ones making the choices and navigating through the dungeon and fighting that dragon. Only in Dragons and Dungeons, we somewhat reverse the roles. Not the dice rolls, no. The players, all six of them, become the dungeon masters, and I become the player. You see, in Dungeon Keeper, you are controlling a dungeon and are populating it with monsters and traps and are tasked with keeping the party, the heroes, from getting to the heart of your dungeon and destroying it. Okay, so jump back to Dragons and Dungeons. The six new DMs are creating the dungeon and populating it with monsters, traps, treasure, as I normally would, and I am instead creating a party of adventurers. We'll decide on an average party level. For example, I may create a party of level 4 characters. So the dungeon that they create will be on par with that. So there's probably not going to be like a difficulty challenge 20 red dragon in there. The players will get together and create the blueprint of the dungeon. Although it could just as easily be a castle or a town, really almost any kind of setting that could work. But they'll figure out where the corridors are, the secret passages, the traps, the monsters, and whatnot. And I'll explain what this is ultimately going to achieve in a moment, but this gives the players the chance to figure out balance, both in what monsters they add, but also, too, in what treasure that I might find. Unlike in Dungeon Keeper, it's not them versus me. So they are not all out to destroy my adventurers. They are there to narrate me through their design. I take my party and craft them up as uniquely as I can with a wide array of stats and builds, just as my players historically have done. Sometimes I'll kind of go crazy with an off-the-wall build, just again as they have done. But usually I'm kind of basic, and I like to stick to the core races and classes. But then once they have completed the dungeon building, that the players or the DMs have completed the dungeon building, and I've completed making my party, I then try to use my craftiness and skills to attempt to overcome what they have prepared before me. Speaking of craftiness, I gotta thank these crafty supporters, as their contributions to my channel have made it so that I don't have to take on sponsored ads for this video. And for that, I cannot thank them enough. If you would like to contribute by becoming a Patreon or YouTube member, I'll leave a link down in the description. And of course, I'm going to add your name to this ever-growing list of crafty supporters. A moment ago, okay, I mentioned that I'd explain what this reversed role ultimately was going to achieve. It's this. It gives me a chance to experience what the players go through, and it gives the players the chance to experience the challenges of putting together an adventure. This simply allows for all sides to get creative in a new way, to get a deeper understanding of what the game means to the person on the other side of the table. Players get to unleash their crazy and wild imagination in designing intricate dungeons, traps, monsters, anything that they can come up with, and I get to face those unexpected challenges. This can empower the players by letting them dive deeper into the telling of a story. By creating the dungeon's layout, infesting it with monsters and other challenges, they have become the architects of a very immersive narrative. For me, this role reversal gives me a unique challenge. Simply put, I've been the dungeon master for so long that I know my own tricks. But when I see what they have presented and their tricks, well, it allows me to add to my bag of tricks. And of course, I'm going to use that against them in future games. That's neither here nor there. Navigating those surprises, however, reacting to the twists and turns that they have come up with, well, simply put, this makes it very dynamic because usually it's me and me alone coming up with things on the fly. But what makes it uniquely fun is now that there are 5 or 6 that are collaborating, which really cranks the difficulty in my party surviving up to a very true challenge. Yes, this reversed Dungeons and Dragons, this Dragons and Dungeons play style, most certainly goes beyond the traditional boundaries of the core game. But I have found that it really has helped me to understand the player's drive, and to an extent, I feel that it's allowed them to understand my drive, what urges me along. It's a unique approach that allows DMs and players alike to experience a new side of the game. This isn't the only unique way to play Dungeons and Dragons. We've come up with several others, and if you'd like to see some of the other alternative ways to play, be sure to check out this playlist. It's got some great ideas on how to change up your D&D game. Players, if you were to craft a dungeon, what is one specific monster that you'd have to add in? DMs, if you were to create a party, what is one specific class or race that you would have to include? Let me know down in the comments, and until next our paths cross, may you all stay creative.